of the May meeting of the Belleville Area District Library Board please come to order. Our first order of business will be to call the roll. And for that, I will ask for staff assistance because our secretary is at this point not yet here.
And if you could please state the location that you are meeting from when I call the roll. Jahavitz.
Sumter Township.
Dawson.
I'm here. I'm in Belleville.
Jariga.
Here, and I'm from the city of Belleville.
Peters.
I'm here and I'm from the township of Van Buren.
Stoudemire.
Here, Van Buren Township.
Okay, and Alma right now is absent.
Right.
Wait, I'm sorry, Linda.
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Well, we cover a lot of ground and this Zoom business has been really helpful for that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, now we are at the second item of the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. And the approval of the agenda will require a roll call vote.
So moved.
It's been moved by Jariga
I'll
and
second it.
seconded by Dawson that the agenda be approved. This is the time if there's any question or comment. Then hearing none, I'll ask for the roll call vote. And
Okay, Jahavitz.
Yes.
Dawson.
Yes.
Jariga.
Yes.
Peters.
yes,
Priest.
Yes.
Stoudemire.
Yes.
the motion carries with no dissenting votes and one absence. Our next item of business is approval of the April 13th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Those minutes were provided in your packets. So I'm hoping everybody had a chance to take a look at them. It would be appropriate for questions and also for a motion at this time.
I motion we approve as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Stoudemire and a second by Dawson that
Question.
the minutes be approved.
Question.
Before we take the vote, are there any corrections or comments about the minutes?
Yes. In the
Okay, John?
in the minutes of the meeting for April 13th, it says 70% of the staff has been got their first COVID shot, and later on it says 80%. What's the number?
As of the last meeting, it was 70%, and that's in the minutes. In the director's report for today, I have it's 80%.
Right.
So a month. There's a month difference in those numbers, John, and they're
Good.
going in the right direction.
Yep.
So that's a good point to reinforce. Are there any other questions? Okay, then now we will call for the vote on approval of the minutes, and I will ask for a roll call vote. Thank you, Mary Jo.
Jahavitz.
Yes.
Dawson.
Yes.
Jariga.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Priest.
Yes.
Stoudemire.
Yes.
Wonderful. We have no dissenting votes on approval of the minutes, one absence. The minutes are therefore approved. And now we move on to item number 4, which is public comments. And today we do have 2 members of the public. Do either one of you want to say anything today?
I don't either.
Okay, we're happy to have both you ladies with us. Item 5 is committee reports. And we will start, as we always do, with our building committee. Joy was unable to attend the building committee this time. And so Mary Jane and John and I were there, as well as Mary Jo. Mary Jo is always the best note taker, but I do have a few notes. So I don't know, what do you want? How do you want to do it, Mary Jo? I'm making you do everything.
I can get us started and you can, oh, who else did I just send that to? If I miss something,
Now that you
stop
proved
in.
that big money,
Well, yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
you-
I'll start with the
you gave
lead
away.
story. How about that? We reviewed the amount of money that we have left remaining in the capital project fund, and we are still in a good place. And so the proposed improvements to the HVAC system are things that we can certainly afford. And these are items that will stand us in good stead moving forward throughout the life of our building, not just through COVID, but any other pandemics or viruses that come our way. And there are about 4 different projects involved in this, three major ones. One is the humidification system, and that's probably the lion's share of the money.
Right.
Second is the bipolar ionization system. The third is the improvement to the filters. And then fourth, we're making some improvements to the blowing the hot air that's in the boiler room out into other parts of the library so that we can be a little bit more efficient with our heating. So the entire project is, as our construction manager likened it to open heart surgery, because we're going to be, opening up some ceiling tiles and a wall in order to get at some things, drilling through the roof, putting some equipment onto the roof. So it involves roofing, electrical, piping, things like that. The entire project is $326,416. So we spent a fair amount of time discussing this project, and the committee voted to move forward at this time.
Could I add? I would just like to reinforce in this public meeting that this is a large amount of money to spend updating a brand new building. But because we were good stewards of the dollar and because the community helped to support us in the special areas that we have in our library, we really do have the money for this. And some of the technology that we are putting in this building didn't really exist or wasn't understood during the time we were originally developing the meeting. A lot of these interventions have been developed specifically because of COVID and because people realize that air quality and contagions and little viral particles are going to be an issue for us all along. So since we are in the good position of putting up a state-of-the-art building, I just want the whole board to recognize, so we can talk to the community about it, that we are really, this is the kind of thing that people can't see, but it really makes our building much safer, and it really puts us ahead. As you know, many schools and all kinds of places are struggling trying to improve air quality. Thank you.
Okay, that was the major part of the meeting. In addition to that, we kind of went through our list of the jobs that we still have left to do for the building. A lot of these are smaller jobs, and they just kind of nag around along the edges. We will definitely get to them. Our construction company has other jobs that they are working on, and so they're fitting us in when they can. So we have a few things like the hanging the oil painting in the atrium.
And the bench.
Installing the bench at Sumter, installing getting a proposal to install an additional network cable. So things like that. The Trespa panels at the entry area that still need to be addressed. So we've got some smaller projects that are still very much on our radar that we're continuing to work through.
And the only other one I have is that the mailboxes are still, for staff, are still to be
Right.
completed. And
Right.
Matt spoke about pushing those along. As everybody knows, a lot of building projects and equipment that's needed for things are being slowed up nowadays. So
Mhm.
so these last little steps that we have to do are kind of taking longer, but we seem to have time. And that was another thing with that HVAC improvement. We really felt like we at least wanted to start it before the library is going full tilt while we're still operating in a slowdown period. I think that covered things. Mary Jane, did you have anything to add? Oh, you're mute. You're on mute.
No, I didn't have anything to add. Like the two of you had said, the big thing was the ionization and humidification issue. And I feel very comfortable with the fact that we voted to go ahead with that project.
Thank you.
And those
John,
are
do
things
you have
that are
anything?
gonna have a long,
Pardon? Joy?
Can I speak?
yeah,
Yeah, you can speak, John.
Today I took the initiative of calling Debbie Dingle's office, and of course, in the future, we're going to be getting a lot of electric cars. So I would like to know what we could do for the process of getting electrical chargers for cars in our parking lot, at least 5 of them. I know they're expensive, but see what she could do. She loves the library, and I think she'll help us out.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind, and I hope, oh, there's Linda's little cutie. We'll keep that in mind, and those of you who get a chance to encounter Congresswoman Dingle, you might put in a word for John's appeal. Joy, did you have something to say? Joy?
I just wanted to reinforce that, yes, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I just want to reinforce that the expenditures that we're putting in are going to do several things, including making that building not so dry, but it's going to stand us in good stead even when COVID is gone, for the flu, for anybody who's sick, coming into a building with these kind of systems in place, it is much less likely to spread around.
I want to add that even though Joy, the chair of the
That's all.
committee wasn't there when we took the vote, it was Joy's leadership in the discussions over the past several meetings that really put this front and center as the item we wanted to address last week. Thank you, Joy.
And I think too, it makes the community feel safer when they come into our library as well.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Are there any other questions of the building committee? In that case, we'll move to bylaws. John?
I have nothing today.
Okay. Finance committee, we do have some things we already talked about there. Most of you have them in your packet, and we will move to Tanya to walk us through these documents.
So in your packet, I think it's page 4, you will see the quarterly report for the 9 months ending March 31st.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, and it is on the screen.
Is it?
Yippee.
I don't know, did I do that or did you do it, Mary Jo?
I did it.
Oh, okay, all right, well then let me pull it down because I'm actually looking at it, so, all right. So, starting with our revenues, you will see near the bottom of the screen, our total annual revenues are just over $2 million. And our 9-month budget is the 1.5 million. And our 9-month actual is just over 1.6. So our favorable amount is 85,794. So if you look at a couple of the various accounts here as to, you know, where we did better than budget, you'll see that one of the items is the
Sorry.
penal fines. Oh, I'm slow.
Yeah.
Still,
No, that's my
I'm
mouse
yeah,
slipped.
I was
Okay.
walking there. So if you look under library fines and fees, and you'll see the one is the penal fines, and there's a budget there of 40,000. And if you look at our 9-month actual of 48,000, we've actually already exceeded our budget, but that's due to the fact that we received last year's fines this year.
Sorry
So,
about that.
yep, that's okay. So that's why you'll, and that accounts for most of the favorable amount here that you see, in addition to the contributions that we receive for the library. And I think, Mary Jo, you told me that there are a few more remaining pledges as it relates to the contributions.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to the end of that, but we might still see a couple coming in.
Okay, all right, so then that's winding down. All right, so we can go down to the expenditures. So the report starts off with our salaries, so you can still see that we are, and you'll notice this in almost every one of these line items, where we are doing better than budget. So we're doing better than budget as it relates to the salaries, and that's tied to COVID and people not being able to work full time. And you'll see that's also true with the books and acquisitions, where you'll see that we're 32,000 favorable there. And this theme kind of continues throughout our expenditures. We can scroll down further. I actually went to the bottom line here, Mary Jo.
Bottom line?
Yep.
Total, okay.
Yep. So you'll see that our 21 budget is the 1.9 million, and our 9-month budget is just under 1.5, and our actuals are about 1.1. So our overall favorable amount for our expenditures is the 355,000, and then when you add that to our favorable amount on our revenues, you'll see that our budget is in very good shape. So thank you, Mary Jo. Appreciate that.
good.
So this is our general fund budget. So we also have 2 more funds we can take a look at. This is our debt?
This is the debt.
Yep. So if you look at our debt budget, you will see the revenues are the 960,000, and our 9-month actual is just over 900,000. So we have 182,000 that's favorable here on our revenues. And then with the expenditures, you will see that we are also favorable there as well. And then Mary Jo, I know you told me capital is a little weird because last year we had a considerable fund balance. So it looks like this year we're starting to catch up. So this almost looks as if we have overspent this year's budget, but what it doesn't take into account is the surplus that we had from last year.
And with the capital project budget, you have to kind of look at the entire project as a whole. And there were a lot of things that we, because of COVID that got delayed from last year's budget to this year. Next year, you guys will be amending the budget, so we'll clean this up for that meeting and make it reality a little bit better.
And the only other thing, I think that's it for reports, but I did notice, and I don't know if you all want to talk about it in this meeting, but at some point we have to think about our operating millage renewal and what we want to do as it relates to that. If we have to go put something on the ballot, it probably makes more sense to wait until 22 as opposed to trying to have a special election in November. But I really think that it's probably a good idea for the finance committee to have a meeting so that we can kind of walk through all of these options, and then we can report back to the full board.
I think that's a
Good.
good idea.
Thank you for bringing that up. Mary Jo has been doing some research on this. We've been having some discussions, and she has some information in the director's report. So we will illuminate or go further in this area, this very important area that Tanya has addressed later in this meeting, and we can make our decisions as to what approach we want to take. But Tanya is absolutely right. This isn't a budgetary issue of the moment. We do have to make decisions on this in order to keep ourselves ahead of the game. Are there questions of Tanya or Mary Jo on the financials that have been discussed?
That was an excellent report. Thank you.
I even understood it this time.
Yeah.
You know me in numbers.
I have to say, I really appreciate Tanya's skill in walking a bunch of people who don't know much of stuff about this.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She does know what she's doing.
Well, Mary Jo coaches me really well, so.
Mary Jo
I
knows
appreciate
what
that.
she's doing too.
Yes, she does.
Knows what she's doing. So that's good. I'm glad that Tanya doesn't have to redo a whole bunch of stuff. She just has to explain it so the rest of us knuckleheads can understand it. Thank you.
I'm really happy to have Tanya's support, so, because you have
Yeah, we're blessed.
much higher budgetary knowledge than I do.
Then I think unless there's any other questions, we'll move on the agenda. And the next item is the marketing committee. And again, our marketing committee chair is not here. She was there to chair the meeting.
I think
Alma was.
Alma might be here.
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Goody.
I'm not set up. I'm trying to get online.
I'm sorry about the background phone call. It'll shut up in a minute. Alma, you came at a perfect time. Mary Jo has been doing a great job in taking your place and calling the roll every which ditch. But right now we are just at the item on the agenda that is the marketing committee. And you came just as I was saying the marketing committee. So if you would like to lead this discussion, or if you would like, Mary Jane is here, she was at the meeting, Linda was at the meeting, and I was at the meeting. And John, were you at that meeting?
Oh.
Marketing? Okay. Anyway, we could help you out given that you're just getting on, but if you want to start it out, you can.
You can go ahead and start. I was trying to find my notes as well as connect
Okay.
to live to the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go ahead with that. I will give some overriding comments. I was just talking to Mary Jo about this earlier today, and then I'll ask Mary Jo to make sure we fill in everything. I thought it was a really good marketing committee meeting because it brought in new blood. Earlier we had Barbara Gates on the board on that committee, and she was new to the community and brought new, fresh perspective. Linda Priest has joined us on that marketing committee, and her role in the committee meeting was really very helpful. I was telling Mary Jo, she kind of moved my thinking anyway, for a few years now, and for the last several marketing committee meetings, we have been so focused on the building project and the new building that we've been only talking about things that have to do with the building. A lot of the questions that Linda raised indicated that there might be other ways that we could be helpful to marketing. Certainly our staff is superlative in not only the kind of programming they come up with, but in getting the word out to the community about it. But I feel pretty strongly that we as a board can be helpful and useful in that effort as well. And that kind of came out in a lot of the comments that Linda was making. And it's for sure that Linda's a longtime friend of the library and a longtime she recognizes the kind of programs we do and how the community can do with them. So I just thought the way we approached it was helpful. We could start, we have been talking about the grand opening, and the committee decided to recommend to the board again, to kind of reaffirm an earlier recommendation that we really stretch it out and wait for good weather months next year. By the time in this year that we think it might be safe to have large gatherings, it would not be the optimum time of the year to have an event in our library. It would be better if we wait till the days are longer and warmer. Oh boy.
Reverberating.
That's okay. So that for the grand opening and the donor reception, the special reception for donors, which will take place before the grand opening, but after COVID is kind of behind us. We did not plan on that, but we talked about things that were going on, and I know Linda and John attended the plant swap. Maybe they might want to talk about that. There's Alma.
Hi.
I made it.
Hi. Thank you.
Well, it was just a nice community thing they have. We, both Randy and I went, and I didn't bring any plants, but I did take some home with me, so it wasn't actually a swap for me. But I think just talking to the people, and it's just a real nice thing to remind us what the library really is. You know, so it was a nice day, and
Beautiful.
just look forward to many more nice things to happen like that type of thing where we reach out to the community, and we can, you know, in so many different ways. We've always done that, and I keep thinking we're like racehorses in the stables. We just want to be let out and just do something. You know, we're so excited about the library, and every little thing that we do, it just gives us wanting to do more. That's how I felt about it. But it was a nice day.
Oh, John is leaving us now, so
Oh.
for a moment. So I don't know. I'm
I'll
figuring.
have you know that I ordered the good weather for that day.
Yeah, well, you did a great job. I arrived at the end of the plant swap, and it was still a beautiful day, and I got to be around. John, did you have anything to say about the plant swap?
I was there for a very short time, but
Okay.
it was really lovely. The venue was perfect and the weather was great.
Well, I think it's important that board members did participate in that event, and I want to encourage all of us to be involved, be more involved, or stay be present as much as possible. I know that Mary Jane was a real pro at this. She led this board, and I'll work on doing more, but all of us might. There was another event coming up. I can't remember which it was that we talked about it being something the board could participate in.
Lake Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about possibilities. Is that also to be in our, that's not going to be in our parking lot, is it? Aren't we supposed to be doing something else?
No, we're going to have a booth in the area that's in the, like, kind of like the children's zone, family zone, that's going, I believe it's going to be on 3rd Street in Maine.
Okay.
Kind of bunch everything together that's of that, type of thing. So we're hoping to have some little crafts for kids to take home and takeaways and things that they can take with them. The Friends of the Library are going to also assist us, and they're probably going to have some Friends swag that they can sell as a fundraiser.
Right. And that's
and
June
we'll
25th,
probably,
26th.
June 25th, yeah, the Saturday, yeah. And we'll probably do some pop-up story times and things like that at the same location.
Mary Jane?
Yeah, I've been going to the chamber chat things on Wednesdays. They start at noon and run, well, informally they start at noon, but the actual chat is from 12:15 to 12:45. And we found out last week that because of all the COVID restrictions, that the dragon boat races aren't going to happen. The people that normally would run these races would have to quarantine for 14 days here, and then they'd have to quarantine when they go back to their own country. And
Oh, wow.
that part's not going to happen this year. We're hoping that it'll work out for next year. But there's still a lot of things that the chamber has planned. So I hope that everybody will be able to participate. There's some talk about possibly some fireworks. Not by Van Buren Township. They've decided to pull out of that due to COVID. But the chamber may be I'm not sure about this. The chamber may be doing fireworks, I think on, I want to say Saturday night, but I could be wrong. It's sort of a floating thing right now from what I've heard, but I can give people more information after tomorrow's meeting.
So those are two extra activities that the library's involved in. That plant swap was really a collaboration with the garden club, and this Lake Fest is a collaboration with the chamber. And those are the areas that that the board is most helpful. But there's so many of our regular programs, and everybody, I wanted to just ask, everybody, gets the newsletter, and everybody has access to the website, which is how our staff makes all our programs so successful. They're really able to reach out to all kinds of people. The board might want to think about if there's anything else, if there's any way you can offer or help staff in terms of promoting all the many activities that we do. The newspaper is very helpful, and our staff, I notice a lot of them are penned by Hillary, but Hillary is often placing things in the newspaper having to do with regular programming in the library. If there's any other kinds of things that people feel we could do, maybe you might want to funnel your ideas through the marketing committee. And thank you all who participated in that. Alma, is there anything else you want to?
Nothing other than Mary Jo had mentioned that she has a group working on the new brochure. Do you?
Yes, now that we have a new building, it's time to update our brochure with our new building logo, images, new services. So that's we're working on right now.
Okay.
It'll
And
be
I,
time to update our identification badges too.
Yes.
Good thing since mine kind of busted up.
Oh,
I overused it. Anything else? Any other comments about marketing? On that, we will move to the Personnel Committee. Is there anything you want to?
No report.
No report. Okay, the Policy Committee, Mary Jane? Mute, you're, okay. There you
I had to find the mouse. I have nothing to report.
go. Okay. I appreciate that. We've been so busy. This is a good thing that we don't have all, that's because we got a lot of that other stuff ahead of us because we knew we had all this busy stuff to go. The Art Committee did meet on the 18th, is that right?
15th?
15th. We met on a Thursday.
Yeah,
We met on the Thursday in April, which would have been tax day.
yeah.
And
And Michelle Montour updated us on the status of some things we had in process. We have received 5 sculptures from Howard Plachowski for the children's room. And we have, Doug Peters had received the donation, the oil, not the donation, the loan of the oil painting from Sheena Barnes, and he was rewiring the back of it. That is actually now in our building. It still needs to be hung, but it's beautiful. It's really magnificent. It picks up all of the colors. So I'm very excited about that going up. We heard that BACA is going to be very happy to have the library display the winners of last year's art show. So once we get our display system up, we can have that. That will be our first rotating display that we do.
that'll be a great draw for the community to come into our building and for us to work across platforms. We're really grateful to the Art Committee. Barbara, it's good for you to know, Cheryl Wagner has been helping out in the Art Committee. I think she wasn't able to come to that particular meeting, but she's been really helping to keep us connected to BACA.
Good.
Yeah.
And our next meeting is Thursday, May 20th at 3 o'clock.
Oh, good. Good. Good to note. Okie dokie. Oh, do you have your hand up, Joy? You're muted, but I'm taking it that you said.
no, I did not have my hand up. I was playing with
Well,
my
hand
phone.
is showing. It could be that your Poochie put that on there.
Oh, he's barking. So
Well,
I
I'm
had to,
glad we never did lose sight of you. We could see you all the way along, and I'm glad that the internet has not taken you from us.
well, I'm on my phone now because of that. I don't know
Oh.
what's going on, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Phones are good.
Yeah, it's working. We can see you well. Then I don't see any other comments and the Art Committee has been really helpful. That was the last committee that we established, and it was established as an add-on. Mary Jane led the policy directive to create that committee, and really all that work and the rules and the structure that we put in place early on has really served us well. It's really helped us, and we've been lucky. The community, it is a good way to engage with the community, so I appreciate everybody involved. So with that, if there's no other Art Committee discussion, we'll move back to some actionable items. The item 6 is the approval of accounts payable, and this will require a roll call vote. So Mary Jo will be able to rest on this because our secretary is with us now.
Make a motion, whoops.
But there may be question, we have to entertain a motion anyway, but we also might have questions about the accounts payable. They are in your packet.
I make a motion to accept accounts payable as presented.
I
Motion
second.
by Dawson, second by Stoudemeyer.
Either one.
Huh?
And I
Either
have,
one works.
Either one works, okay. Well, then I call you by both of them, so I don't know.
I do too.
The accounts payable now, it's getting back to kind of the regular things that we deal with, and more regular amounts. We are not acquiring supplies and books the way that we were a few months ago. Are there any questions?
yeah, I have a question. It's the first item. Production building solution, is that the cleaning company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answered my question.
Good. Any other questions? I don't see any, so we will ask the secretary to call the roll.
Okay. Jerica,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes,
Stoudemire,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Jehevitz,
Yes.
Hughes Grubbs, yes.
The motion carries with a unanimous favorable vote, and the accounts payable are approved. As always, the packet includes, for your information, the construction contract approvals that the building committee has worked out, and that Mary Jo and Dan Whistler has approved. So that's just for your information. And with all of that, I believe that's our last actionable item. And now we have our director's report, and we are going to have that discussion about the library millage.
Alma, where are you meeting from today?
Van Buren Township.
Thank you. Okay, we have a millage that is due. The last time we can levy it is on this December's tax bill, December of 2021. This was the first operating millage that the board approved, placing that on the ballot back in 2010. So it's time for it to be renewed. I had a phone call with Christopher Marino from Thune Law Firm. He was our bond and millage attorney for our last millage and bond, just to get some information about him, about how to move forward. And Sharon joined us on that call. Basically was asking him about the timeline when we could go for this. And if we go in 2021, it would be a special election that we would have to call unless something else ends up being on the ballot in November. At this point, I'm not seeing that happening. So we would have to pay for a special election if we wanted to go this year.
What would that cost?
I'm not sure what that cost is just yet. That's something we need to find out. If we go this year, we will be able to call it a renewal on the ballot language. If we wait until 2022, we can no longer use the word renewal. However, we can have a statement in the language that says that this millage, renews a millage that expired in 2021. So we can still explain what this is, that it's something.
What was their suggestion? Did they give one?
Right now, we were just getting data. He didn't really have a suggestion for us. I think it depends on our comfort level with, I think with everything with COVID and being partially open, it might, we would get more we would get more voter turnout in 2022 than we would on a special election.
Right.
Those are all things that we need to kind of think through.
Right.
What would be the best thing to do.
I think going when there's more turnout. But what does that mean in terms of when does money from the current millage end?
Be December 22, wouldn't it?
It ends, well, we start,
It ends now.
we levy it in December. That money will be good through, half of it will be for the 21-22 budget year, and the other half would be 22-23.
So we're not going to be missing any time there where
No,
there's no
there
funding.
would be no, right. And it would be, and that's another thing, if you do go in 2022, you have to decide if you want to do it on the primary ballot or the general election. The primary would give a little bit more time for everything, the info to get sent into Wayne County and to the clerks as far as levying that money on the December ballot. Back when we did this in 2010, we did, I believe we did do it on a November election and turned on a dime and got it levied. So it's possible.
So
Our-
they still levy the tax on December of 22. That would be the last time the tax would be levied.
No, December of 21 is the last time.
Okay.
But if we go in 22, then there will be no break. I mean, we would approve it in 22, we would levy it in 22.
I think we
It's a-
should do the primary.
Okay.
So,
I think the
well, one of the
primary-
things,
Why
the
why
things
the
that-
primary?
one of
I
the
think
things
it's-
our lawyer told us was that we can go on the primary, and the recommendation there is that if we did, then we would then be eligible to go on the general. We'd have to do it very quickly. But if something happened and the primary, we weren't successful in the primary, we could turn around and do it in the general next year. And we kind of did appreciate that information because we don't want to go at a point where we have nothing, no fallback.
So
Wait a minute, I have a question. Mary Jo, don't we have, I thought library law changed and you couldn't only put it on the ballot one time per year.
Oh,
Mm,
they didn't say
Maybe
that.
that's the bonds. There's something that changed.
There's always something pending, but no, I don't think yet, not yet.
Our lawyer definitely told us that we
Yeah.
could do it that way,
Yeah.
that we could do it in August, and if we needed to, then turn around and do it again in November.
okay, are you still talking 22 though?
Mm.
For the primary and or the general?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the August primary as well. I mean, with that language, letting people know that, this is
Really.
a renewal of something that had previously expired. I think that kind of covers us. And then if we do have to go again in November, at least we'd have that option.
The millage is for 7/10. It's been rolled back by Headley. And that's another thing that we'll have to kind of consider is, do we want to put additional language on the ballot to get it back up to 7/10, or do we want to accept the Headley rollback and just keep moving on the way we're moving on? And then a third piece of information, basically the tax capture, the DDA tax captures, they would no longer be able to capture this money.
Yay.
Forever?
For this millage, because it's a new millage.
Or anything in the future. So that's to our advantage right there.
Okay.
Can we make this millage, I can't remember when the other millage ends. Do you remember when that ends?
2036 for the other operating. Yeah.
So do we want to make this millage end at the same time so that so when we renew the other millage, we just have one millage? Because the end date of how long this millage is gonna be is something too we need to talk about.
Yeah, that's another factor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of food for thought. That's why we really need to start thinking about this now.
I'm thinking maybe we should go along with our treasurer's suggestion. It was very helpful that Mary Jo initiated the meeting and that I was able to attend where we could start getting information and we can start talking about it now. It might be, given the way this discussion has gone, it might be a good idea that the finance committee look at it and then we talk about it again in June.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay, and next, and a reminder, next month, we will also be doing the budget hearing, so it's budget time again.
Money, 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 money.
Okay, what else do I have to talk about? As John mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, our staff has, 80% of our staff has received at least one dose of a vaccine. So we are kind of seeing the end of, we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel on that front. And I'm very, very pleased by how available the vaccine is now. So anybody who wants to be vaccinated, it's very easy now to become vaccinated.
Your staff has a choice then.
Pardon?
Your staff has a choice. If
My
they
staff
want-
has a choice.
Pardon me?
They do have a choice.
Okay.
You
I
look
am
like you look like you've reached herd immunity, at least
Our
at the
staff
staff level.
immunity, yes. So, I certainly encourage them to, but that's a decision that they need to make. I am very pleased with I don't want to make a prediction, but I think that we are seeing the beginning of the end of COVID, at least for the time being. I think things are really hopefully going to start to change rapidly regarding the number of cases. Looking daily at the number of cases that are locally in our area, and that number is slowly going down as vaccines go up. I am encouraged that yesterday Michigan reached 55% of the first dose, which triggers, that means 2 weeks from now, staff can come back into the building to work. The majority of us have been working in the building because, our jobs are public facing and we have to be here. But prior to this, anybody who can do a job from home must do it from home. So that requirement will go away in 2 weeks. So we'll be able to be full tilt again. And
Mary Jo,
yes.
do you know how that impacts the Open Meetings Act? Or is that still to be determined? Because I know we talked about it today at my job too. The mayor's really excited about everybody coming back on the 24th. He can't wait.
Mhm.
But in terms of the Open Meetings Act, he said we were going to wait and see what Wayne County did and we would follow their lead. But I'm not really sure how it works here. Do we just follow the lead of Wayne County?
Wayne County has a state of emergency that they have called, and that's why we've been meeting via Zoom, because
Okay.
state of emergency. That being said, the issue is making sure that you have enough room in a meeting, in a public meeting, to accommodate an audience.
Mm.
You're kind of making sure, we still have to be masked up and socially distant, and we need to ensure that if your room holds 10 people and person number 11 walks in, that how do you accommodate them? Do you have, a way to do that? So that's been one of the main reasons for doing the Zoom meetings. In addition to that, the safety factor of it, and I would say that probably that more than anything else. I personally think that I am hopeful that the board could meet in June. I think the numbers are going down enough that we can start to get back to some degree of normalcy. Looking at limited library programs that make use of our terrace outside, so we're meeting outdoors. Going to be doing a lot of library pop-up programs outside, taking advantage of the outdoor spaces. We hit 65% immunity, the occupancy levels go away. 70% immunity, the masks go away. I believe social distancing goes away too. And so
When can the chairs get out of hock?
Pardon?
When did the chairs get out of park?
I'm not at liberty to say right now,
They
But-
look so sad, all piled up.
but I think you will be seeing some good news in the near future on that front.
When we did have that one meeting in
Yes.
the room. What were the numbers at that point in time compared to now?
They were starting to go down, but right after that, it was when they started spiking again.
Uh-huh.
That was why we were like, okay, we got to go back to,
To Zoom.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started to go down, I believe in, I don't remember now, February, and then it immediately started.
Spiked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like every time I think, oh, good, we're at a low, maybe we can start to get back to normal, it spikes. But I think with the number, the vaccine percentage that's out there, I'm very optimistic. I think we're at the beginning of the end of all of this.
Yeah.
So we're looking at restoring services,
Which include chairs.
which include chairs.
Yeah, because I was just going to bring my own. You're doing a great job, Mary Jo. Thank you.
I have to say, Mary Jo really is, she is, I think the reason we're opened as much as we are is that she is kind of uniquely, or maybe it's a rarity that somebody is able to really put in practice these rules the way that she's been able to do it. And she really holds her ground, I'll say that. She really holds her ground in terms of doing it the right way and not just moving.
Well, I want everybody to be safe, and I'm the first person who wants to be done with this and be open, but I want to make sure that we do it safely, and we are, and we're close.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions of our director for her director's report? It is enjoyable, and she also did include some reading materials
That's
for
right.
us.
It's very interesting, too.
Yeah. So on that note, if you're finished, Mary Jo, it is time for trustee comments. And again, everybody's screen shows everybody in a different way. So I'm going to just call on people the way they show up on my screen. And that means that you go first, Mary Jane.
Okay, I have a couple of things to say. Well, actually, I have 3 things to say. Mary Jo, you're doing a great job. Please tell the staff that I appreciate everything that they're doing, too.
I will.
My second comment is the president did a proclamation that beginning May 9th to the 15th is National Law Enforcement Week. If you see a cop or a sheriff's deputy or somebody who works in law enforcement, please tell them that you appreciate what they're doing, because they've been taking a lot of guff from a lot of people, and 99.9% of them are good people and do their jobs. Okay. My second thing is sort of came up at the last minute. I have a friend who works for a local real estate company, and her son goes to Owen, and she called me probably about, I don't know, maybe 6:30 or so. And she said, "Are you home?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Can we borrow your library card?" And I'm like, "What?" She said, "We're doing a scavenger hunt for Owen at Owen School, and we need to get somebody's library card." It had to be somebody else's. I'm like, "Sure." So I stood out by the driveway. I'm sure most of you know where I live. And they stopped by, and Lee jumped out of the car, and he took my library card. About 10 minutes later, I got a phone call from her again, and she said, "Do you know of any car washes where you do it yourself? You don't, drive through?" And I said, "Yeah, there's one on South Street, just over the railroad tracks." And she was evidently at Family Dollar or close by, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I see it." I'm like, Okay. Just before the meeting started, I got another call from her, and it was some type of a riddle that they had to solve, and it was, I don't remember all the words, but the gist of it was they had to type in the name of a place that is in the community that when it's open, you know, spring is on its way. And they had gone to the Scoop and Frosty Boy, and neither one of those worked. And I said, how about A&W? Oh yeah. So off they went. In the middle of the meeting, I got a text from her and she said, we're at your house. I'm returning your library card. So there were things going on at Owen School that evidently the rest of us had no idea were going on. So what a cool thing to do
Yeah, that's
with the
cute.
kids. And I don't know if I get part of their prize if they won or not, but whatever.
Hmm.
I'm done.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Next is Joy.
I have two things. It's good to hear the art is being put up. I haven't been in the building for a few weeks, maybe more than that. So I look forward to seeing it. And I was looking up the thing I brought up about putting a lot. I was wrong. What I said about the millage, I was wrong. What I was getting confused about was that there is currently a bill that's passed the House of Rep that is calling to change elections. So instead of a May, August, and November election dates, it'll just be June and November. MLA is against that because of the threat to being able to put library millages on the ballots 3 times a year. And so it's now in the Senate. So we may want to write, the MLA has some language on advocacy to stop that from happening. The Michigan Library Association. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's good information for us and timely to the discussion we're having and timely to the discussion you will be having with Tanya and Mary Jo in the Finance Committee meeting. Next is Tanya.
So I want to thank Mary Jo for making my budget presentations so easy because trust me, I had last minute questions and I was bugging her at the last minute, you know, trying to make sure I understood everything. So I appreciate you taking the time to walk me through those items. So also, I'm hoping that when we have our Finance Committee, we'll be able to do it in person, even if it means we have to do it at the beginning of May, but that would be great if that could be an in-person meeting. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in person.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. We are too. John.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mary Jo. I got a strong feeling that we couldn't have done this new building
Right.
and all this transition stuff and without Mary Jo's guidance. She's amazing. And also I'd like to commend the entire board. It was fun working with a group like this. You guys are really smart and easy to look at. Thank you.
Aren't you sweet? That was very kind, but I also want to commend this board for many of us were on this board when we picked Mary Jo, and that was probably the best decision that we've made. I know for sure. So I appreciate that. Next is Alma.
Okay, just glad to hear that the plant sale went well. Sorry I wasn't able to attend, and I'm looking forward to meeting in person in June as well. It's been a while, so I think we're all looking forward to that. And I wanted to thank Barbara Miller for being a part of our meeting tonight. It's always good to see you whenever you can be a part.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Alma. Linda?
Well, as much as I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in person, I will miss, in some ways, Zoom for its convenience and for what I've been doing, you know, making these frequent trips. So it's been good for me. And I'm just wondering how that transition will be, you know, for a lot of people, because a lot of our meetings have been, or all of our meetings have been on Zoom. And it's going to be quite a shock to us all when it does happen, but I am looking forward to seeing you all in person. And our library too. And
Well,
I also want to say thank you to Mary Jo, because I know so many people didn't have the guidance of their companies with such a good person, and people just gave up on Zoom. And that's you know, really a sad thing when you aren't able to keep it together and keep your staff together, keep your all your things together. So I really do commend you. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. That concludes the trustee comments, and now it's the chair comments. And I want to piggyback on what Linda just said about being glad there was Zoom, because being able to see Haven run around in person is the greatest fun. I get to see his pictures on Facebook, but he is adorable.
He's gotten me through this Zoom, I'll tell you, and all of the COVID and everything.
I have another close friend who lives here who has a grandson named Avon, who's just a little older than your grandson. So I'll have to get that moving along. But part of my report is going to go right along with the grandparent report. Since we met last, I have become more of a whole person, because I've gone all this since February of last year without seeing any of our children or grandchildren. And as many of you know, our daughter and first granddaughter were able to visit in person 2 weeks ago. And a highlight of my granddaughter's visit was being able to go to the library. And she benefited from some of the children's programming, because we've been doing this programming with unicorns, and she got all this stuff from the program stuff. I want to commend and thank Nakenya Lewis Yarborough for she was there when we were there, and she helped guide the selection of books that we made. And for the rest of my granddaughter's visit, she spent the whole time going over those books. She brought books and we had books, but the books she got at the library, she just loved them. And she had Baba and Yaya rereading those books from the time she got them until the time she left. So the library, I think, is going to really up the visits to grandma's house in my family. And I really appreciate the staff for what they do. And I've been just itching, the building committee knows that the whole time I've been talking about all the little kid stuff for my little grandbabies. And then I had a year and a half where I couldn't even have them in there. So that was a big step ahead for me. And my last thing is, once again, to urge all of you, we look forward to June when we can all see each other at the same time. But I'd urge all of you to get into the building and walk through. One of the things, because we chose to have that vegetative roof, our library changes during the growing season. Our library changes all through the year. The way the vegetative roof presents is different now than it was when last summer. It's very green, it's really pretty, and it'll stay pretty, but it'll keep, different things will keep coming up and all of that. So be sure you go on the second floor and look out at the vegetative roof, but also just get in there whenever you can. And that's all that I have.
Madam Chair,
John.
I make a motion that this meeting of May 11th, District Library Board meeting be adjourned.
And it's supported by Priest, and it's unanimously supported by all happily ever after.
We're gonna get arrested by the meeting police.
I think we follow the meeting police really well, and because of Mary Jo, all these roll call votes, boy, oh boy, we've done everything right and according to the books. So she lets me slide only on this one thing. So we're adjourned, I do believe.
Night, night.
Thanks for
Good
coming.
night, everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.